Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast, episode 464. I'm your host, Adam Cook, and with me this week, well, let's not stand on ceremony. It's the same people that were here last week, isn't it, Christopher Hyde?
It is. We're back again. Oh my God, we're back again. As the Backstreet Boys say.
Backstreet Boys this week. Adam Carroll, you a Backstreet Boys fan?
It's weird you say that, no, because that song was on the radio as I was going to work this morning. So to really kind of answer your question, no.
Oh, okay.
Turned it off and shouted.
I was like, see ya.
Yeah, that's fair. Any pop music that you'd like to, shout out as underrated while we're, speaking about Backstreet Boys and like, what's I see that I only found out today that that's Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother, has got an album coming out, and I might like to have a spin of that and to see what kind of music it is, but.
Do you know what, though? I absolutely despise radio. I despise, like, Irish radio here and like the stuff that I hear.
Just as a medium, full stop.
So, I wasn't expecting this. Please go on.
It's all poor. Like, there is
porn.
The sound of music that is in Ireland that is played on a daily basis, the same 8 kind of tracks are all these, like, really like sad,
Riverdance cause,
kind of just boring blend crap, right?
Riverdance isn't a genre, is it? Like
Riverdance is actually pretty banging.
Yeah, okay.
And Feet of Flames.
What's Feet of Flames?
Feet of Flames was like its sequel.
Oh, there's a sequel?
Yeah. Feet of Flames. Check it out. It's really good. Like the music of Riverdance is absolutely superb. I had to learn a bit of Anton Whistle before.
I feel that's the pre-game banter worn out for this week.
Don't know where to go from Tim Whistle, if I'm honest with you.
Because I feel like if we go in, there's no way I can get to Metroid Dread from that. Oh, no, is there?
No, I have something to say.
Oh, okay.
It has been said. Look, before we went to game talk, let's go. I got that Guinness Nitro Surge thing.
Okay, yeah.
I got it. I tried it out. I got the accessory. It cost me 25 euro.
20 in it, yeah.
I actually went in first off to my local Tesco, right? And I couldn't find the thing. I found the cans because you have to get a certain
can.
You
can get the cans easy. But
I got the cans, happy days. And I knew that across the way in another supermarket, they had the accessory. But this particular Tesco that I was in, I was like, I'm here now, let's try and find it. I asked the guy who was working at the drink section, I go, sorry, man, do you have that Guinness Nitro Surge accessory at all? And he turned around and lost the plot at me. And basically said that, like, Guinness is a scam and that, like, they've sold thousands of cans in this country and that accessory is only available in the UK. And I was just kind of, like, just standing there, like, my girlfriend was over there and I was just there with my 6 cans of Nitro Surge Guinness. And I was like...
Sort of putting them... I'm not... No,
yeah.
I wasn't buying them. Yeah. I wasn't buying them.
I was just like, okay, you're lying. You're just lying.
Yeah, that's absolutely definitely not the case.
So I was just like...
In fact, we know it's not the case, don't we? Because didn't Christopher Love get it?
So I put the cans back and I said, I'm not buying the cans here. So I went over to the other supermarket and there were signs everywhere just saying, go to the office to get the accessory.
We have Nitro Surge here, don't go to the other place.
Yeah.
Ignore the man in Tesco.
Ignore this guy.
He doesn't even work there, really. He's just got a uniform off eBay. And
yeah,
but you got it. You did get it.
I got it. I put it on the can and you charge it and all that shit. And the points were superb.
So what do you do? You put it on top of the can.
Put it on top of the can as
you
then spout.
Yeah, okay.
And then you press on the power button.
Okay.
And then the Guinness harp kind of thing lights up. And then from there, I'm wondering what it's actually doing because I can't hear anything.
So is it like the light on a can?
It's just a light that comes on top.
But is it not self-pouring then? So you still have to pour it?
No. That's a big ask.
No, I thought that's the point. It was a pump that poured it in a certain...
No.
So what do you do then? You still pour it?
You got your glass and you go like that and you kind of just do the whole pour thing like that and then you get up to like whatever, 3/4, let it sit for like 60 seconds and then top it back up, whatever. And it just... I don't know if it like... what it actually
in
does.
Your head, but, sort of like placebo effect.
Yeah.
But the head of the pint was amazing, and it was superb. And then it was really funny. I had a couple of mates over, and I was like, "You have to bring these cans. You have to actually buy the Nitro Surge
specific can."
Yeah. So all the lads were arriving with the cans, and like we're all standing around the accessory, going, "Like, what's it actually doing?" We were all kind of going, "It tastes amazing. It does taste amazing." But I really would like to do a proper taste test. Do you know, like get one of the nitrous cans on its own, standard Guinness can, do it all.
And maybe in a pub with a proper board. Because you see, the thing I was confused about like with this is that I wonder if people don't know how to pour a pint anymore. Because like you shouldn't have like a head this big. You just do it slowly, like.
You know though. Come on, like sometimes it can go poor, can't it? Surely.
There's ways of counteracting it though, like tilting glasses and stuff. Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. This is not the.
Anyway, we're digressing.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, that's just my news of the week. Anyway,
well, how do you get from Guinness
you can get
to
that
Metroid?
accessory? It is available in Ireland.
Yeah, it is, despite what matey says. Yeah. Right, Guinness Dread. Let's just say go Guinness Dread. Metroid Dread. I had my say on it. I mean, I've had my say on it with the review and the video review and the podcast. Tell me I'm wrong, chaps. Chris, I know you've completed it. I don't know if you have yet, Adam. It's not it's not a long game. That's not the point of it, is it? But
no.
What do we think then? What do we think?
Chris, you go first, my friend.
Well, yeah, I will. Where are you at though, Ad? How?
I am almost at the end.
Almost at the end.
I'm definitely almost at the end.
So I guess top line first thing, I do completely agree with kind of Adam's assessment of it. It's a stupendous game. Me and Adam were having a chat a couple of days ago about where it sits, this game, in the pantheon of 2D Metroids, and could it be up there with the best of them, like with Super Metroid? And I don't know if it's the best, but it's bloody damn close for me. I think this is a very.
Do you know? Sorry to cut in so early. I was just because it was on the.
You said you were going to lead me to it, and then literally.
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I've never said that ever on this podcast. No, I was going to ask you about just in case you didn't mention it, because it was the parrying stuff was in Samus Returns. Okay?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is that and I don't want to say the reliance on that, because you kind of don't have to do that, save for a few encounters where you absolutely have to do that. Okay. Is that, or the reliance on that, so to speak, the reason that you're not straight away like, and it's this one, this is the one, this is the best one?
No.
Okay.
No, it isn't. I think I don't want to jump into it. Well, this is why these are the things I don't like about it. I'd rather go through some of the things I do first. But like, I think for me, why I'm like talking about it in that way, like why for me it's really, really high up there. I think the movement in the game is really strong. When you look at a 2D platformer, it was quite well. It's quite good in 1993 with Super Metroid. The platforming then was good at a 2D level, but the combination of just not just the fluid movement, but the ease of like the wall jumps, the sliding through small spaces means that you're constantly, if you put the right inputs into the controller, I guess you can move very quickly around the environments and respond quite quickly to what you're kind of finding. So it's by far the slickest of all of the 2D Metroids, which makes it really enjoyable to play. I think the level design is superb. I think Metroids, and particularly 2D Metroids, have obviously always been about you see something, I can't overcome that, but I can kind of see what it's hinting at. It's either a door I can't get through, or a gap I can't jump over, or an obstacle I can't, a barrier I can't break down. But I'll come back to it. And I guess historically, like, some of that has relied on kind of your memory of like, where was that room again? Like, where's that? And there's a little bit of that, but a lot of it is actually you find a new item and it's considered then where you go next. It's not like flashing neon lights, but the way the levels are designed and built up with new power-ups in mind means there's quite a well-considered way of progression through the levels, and it's not just left to right. The way you're traversing through the different portions of the planet, it's really well designed. You go back on yourself, but you're doing it in a different way, and I really liked that, the way in which you're moving around. There's always a lot of power-ups and stuff with 2D Metroids,
is there more?
There feels like there's a couple more,
there's more,
particularly.
Yeah.
Whereas in other 2D Metroids, maybe what you're picking up in the number that you've got is like a different type of gun. Like the beam is different, but it does the same thing. It's just more powerful or shoots in a different animation. Whereas it feels like there's more different types of things to consider. Not many more, but there are a couple of different things.
Because there is a period, I would say, in the middle where they are coming at you. Well, maybe it's just the way I played it. They're thick and fast.
I mean, so when I think about if I am thinking about some of the things that I think maybe that's just drags it down a little bit. I do think, and I don't know whether it's because of what I said around how quickly you can move through rooms and things because of how good the design of the movement is, and how that's integrated to the level design. But yeah, it does feel like I've just got this new power up, and I've used it to get through these 2 or 3 rooms, or maybe a couple more than that, and then I've got something else. I'm like, I'd quite like to have maybe explored just using that before I use that. Now, that's not to say. To be really clear, it's not to say you never use that power up you got 5 minutes or 5-10 minutes ago ever again. You'll use them all in conjunction with each other to get through various obstacles and bosses all the way through the game. But I do think probably more than most 2D Metroid, you are thinking, oh, now I've got something else, and now I've got something else, rather than having a period where you're like, right, let me go and explore with this new thing that I've got. Whereas that probably did happen a bit more in some of the other ones. I do want to. I'm going to talk about the difficulty because I think we have to, and there's been a lot of talk about the difficulty in the game, and ignore all the put to one side all the jokes. Oh, I'm great at games, all that kind of crap for 1 second, right? Like, because I think people, you made the point in your review. It's been 20 years since a new one of these, a 2D Metroid game, has come out. And, there are going to be a lot of people that have never played an original 2D Metroid
the
before.
Sales, apparently, this worth saying, we record this live for people to see early, but then it goes away until Monday, which is when the wide version of the podcast comes. But at this time, it's apparently sold really well, which is going to be partly because of the Switch. Because the Switch is, and also it was also, whether you want to call it this or not, it was a launch game for the OLED model Switch.
Yeah,
like it was the game they were saying placed. Like the advert, I don't know if you've seen it on telly. It is literally play Metroid Dread on the new OLED Switch. Like it is literally that.
I would not be surprised if this is the best-selling Metroid game, or at least best-selling 2D Metroid game. I think
it already is. I think it already
because
is.
Metroid as a franchise is quite.
It's never
quite
sold
small.
well.
No,
so the 3D ones maybe because of the Wii, but the 2D ones,
I think maybe the 2D ones. So you're going to get a lot of people that are playing a 2D Metro for the first time, and it's interesting because you get a lot of discourse all the time about Nintendo games are really easy, they're kid friendly, they're and then for some reason Nintendo threw out a game that is now. I don't think this game. I'll be really clear with you. I do not think this game is unnecessarily difficult. I don't think it's
the majority of it. I think is quite easy.
I think the majority of it is quite easy. The majority of it is just exploration, right?
Yeah, exploration. There's no enemy in the overworld, main world, that's like, oh god, that's a real challenge. I mean, initially, every enemy's kind of not a challenge, but a puzzle. How do I combat this? It's the boss battles, but again, I would say that most of them are doable within a couple of goes. Most of them.
The boss battles are really, I think, are really clever, and they genuinely are in 2D Metroid games. A lot of them are. Like it brought bigger puzzles. They are, they're these big, massive things that do a lot of damage and have a set few moves. And the idea is you figure out how to dodge the moves to get your opening, to do enough damage over time to kill the bosses. That's not revolutionary, but but for some reason, and I don't quite get it. In 2021, when you do that in a Metroid game, it's suddenly this thing that is it's a big no-no, and this game is not difficult. If you look, you first go into a boss room, can guarantee you almost every time, if not every time, you will die because it's a quick game. So if you don't already know what's coming at you in terms of the types of attacks and things like that, things will damage you very quickly, and then again and again, and all of a sudden you'll have lost all your health and you will die. But with every death, and I genuinely mean this, it's not an excuse. You learn a bit more. If you die to an attack,
you gain knowledge.
Okay, it does that type of attack. Okay, then there'll be the next fight. You might see a couple of other attacks, or you'll figure out how to dodge that first attack that hit you the first time. And before you know it, you've figured out how to dodge all of the attacks. Then you can focus on damaging the boss, and then it just becomes putting it all together. And that's literally all it does throughout the entire game. And I don't mean to say all it does by
no, but something I found interesting on that note is that when I'm not going to like link to it or say what it is, but I did a couple of boss guides for GodIsAGeek.com, and I'm not going to link to them. Like I say, I'm not going to publicize them. The reason I mention it is because one of them in particular, it was only when I sat down to write that it was like, oh, okay, this boss literally has this many attacks because I can describe how to evade pretty much all of them, or what you're supposed to do, or what it wants you to do. It is a game where every death comes knowledge. Nothing's impossible. It is the execution. Now, I gave it a 9 out of 10, and I know that's almost seems like a low score, which it isn't. There was a moment where it was nearly a 10 for me. There was genuinely, like I really nearly gave it a 10. I just think there are just a few little things within it that I think that, because I'm sure that they will get to do more now. I would sales alone would suggest that they would get to do more. That I think they will refine further, and like then we will be talking like absolute top tier 10 out of 10, which is not to say 9 out of 10 is not a good score. That there's a few things, it's difficult because they're both spoilery, that you and I have talked about in relating to two specific bosses, which I didn't spot. And I don't know if I'm at fault or the design is at fault there, because otherwise it's pretty, it's flawless. It's interesting in chat, actually, the Red Raven saying that the game gets easier once you unlock, I won't say the name of the ability, but there is an enemy that literally, once you've got it, you kind of one-shot anything that isn't the boss. And I was a bit surprised by that, because it suddenly becomes a power fantasy, and then I think I said this to you, Chris, is that I found the difficulty not like a curve. I found it like a reasonable curve, then a spike, then a curve, then a spike, and that's partly it.
Which I found, but I find the spikes when I hit bosses, which is when I want the spikes to be. I don't, for me, I want to die at bosses. I do not want to walk into a boss fight and one-shot it, because for me, then why is it a boss? I
don't think I did that at all.
But for me, the 2D Metroids have always been about exploration, puzzle solving, and then overcoming bosses, and that's bare bones. But we'll come on to the Emmy stuff in a minute, so that's really important. We talk about that, but
yes,
that's what they do, and I don't want to get one shot. I want a difficulty spike. I want a feeling of, oh, amazing! I've overcome that boss. That was a good thing. And then I go back down a bit in there. I don't want to then come to the next room where all the enemies are as tough as the boss I just fought. I want to come back down, and
I think it does that well. Like, it doesn't do that thing of like when you, for example, a Souls game. Once you kill a boss and you progress to like the next region, all the enemies now are balls hard.
Yeah,
I'm quite pleased. It doesn't do that. Like once like the Red Raven says, once you get that certain ability, Adam, I'm assuming you know the one we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Basically, once you've got it, everything's a one-shot bar a boss. And I was kind of pleased that after I got it and then did a boss, I was like, oh, here we go now. I bet now these big lads, it's like, oh, no, they're not. They're still going down. There's one enemy, you have to bounce on it twice. Like, it's got it's in a robot with a red dot on its arse, I think, or its front, I can't remember. You have to hit that twice to kill it. But then I thought that was interesting, because there is another boss that pops back up, and you're like, haha, now I've got this, and you kill it, and it does a certain thing. And then you go, no, that's fine, I can still kill that. And then it goes a third time into something else.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a hard fight. That was a difficult one.
I was like, you mother... It's like you just completely took me by surprise. I was sitting there just going, I know what's coming here. Yeah, come on, just let's go to the next room. And then I was like, oh. So I know which bit you're talking about.
I thought something was wrong. I was like, why isn't this dying?
Yeah.
Adam's been very quiet, which means he's either going to absolutely,
disagree,
or he hates it.
No, I'm straight up saying that this gets the cat pajama seal of approval.
It gets the Adam Carroll cat's pajamas.
I absolutely love this game to bits. I think it does everything that you're saying. It's all banging, whatever. Just to go off the back of what people are saying with the difficulty spikes, when all this started coming out, I just sat back and I saw this coming online around the place, and I was just like, oh, of course. complaints about a game. Here we are again. This is every fucking time a new game comes out, more complaints. Everyone's all up in a heap over it. And I'm going to go straight into this, right?
At least with this one, it's not being ignored like other Metroid games are. I'm kind of pleased it's getting this kind of discourse because it means that people are like paying attention to a really superb game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I just want to say like that. I think the difficulty thing is not. It's just not. It's not a conversation for me. I'm just like, if you're ever going to talk about the difficulty side of it, it's with the Emmy zones and stuff.
Should we talk about them? Because there's a comment in the chat about them where it says, Phil Tyndall says a lot of complaints about the Emmys and how often you die trying to counter them. But at the start of the game, Adam, your computer, which I never even mentioned in the review, just for the record. Adam is your computer, and it tells you that you'll die 99% of the time if you take them on. He says if you could easily counter them, it would make those areas completely pointless.
So, can I just quickly jump in and say that I love the Emmy zones?
Same.
Yes.
Absolutely loved them.
I love them.
Yep, same.
I think they're super fun. At first, the first time I came into a zone, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want this all the time. But then when I understood what was going on, what I had to do,
you can move so quickly to get out of those.
Brilliant.
Like they chase you, but you can move so quickly.
Yeah,
it's amazing when you get to those areas where you can grab onto one and zoom up, like just get an elevator up and pretty much slide under stuff and back around. It's so well made, those parts, and it just shows the level design is so on point.
Yep.
I love how intense they are. Here's the funny thing though, the countering of them, right? I started getting caught over and over by them at the start and still do. And I obviously just like misread or did not see that you could counter them. And so for a lot of my time at the start of the game, when I got caught, I was like, this fucking cutscene.
I didn't even bother for a lot of the game because I was like, so for the first I don't know, maybe even like half the game, I just thought because I knew it was such a small window and
you can do it. I've done it a lot.
So so in the second half of the game, I was just every time I just tried and I did it quite a few times. But like. Can
you counter a second? If you missed the first one, is there a second opportunity? Because
yes, there is.
I thought
there's definitely an opportunity. Whether
the second one is insanely hard. Yeah, the first one I can get sometimes. The second one is like, oh my god.
The second one's way shorter. It's when he does the.
You can do it though, right? I'm sure I did it, but it was so rare that I couldn't be sure I did it.
Yeah, but it's like. The whole thing it's separate with the chase and everything that happens when it's kicking off. It's super exciting, but when you get that thing to take them down.
Yes.
That alone, that alone is so fun because like you obviously have this slow motion effect when you're like shooting the gun at their head, and it's really like, oh, am I going to get this in time?
Yeah,
because
it's so
load up the thing.
It's so like the game is called Metroid Dread, and it's a genius title because you go into those zones, and that is exactly the emotion that I'm feeling.
Well, it even has that weird sound effect.
Yeah.
Sort of, I don't know how I would describe what that is.
It's like a plinky plonky.
Well, but I don't know. Is it? It's not piano. It's like, well, it kind of is piano, but it's heavily processed and
it's like almost like metallic piano, isn't it? But it's like
robotic, with phaser on it, and
but it's so good and like
a sonar. Someone said in chat, it is like a sort of sonar. Yeah,
and you get in the first Emmy area of a new like zone, and you're like,
what's this bastard gonna do?
The thing of Dread, you're like, what the is going to happen in this one?
What's he going to be able to do?
Yeah,
especially when you get to. Well, I nearly spoiled.
How do I, like you said, how do I get out to the other side of this as quickly as possible? Oh my god, it's yellow. Oh, it's red. Right, go, and you just like take it, and it's so good. And like when you kind of get stuff that you can counteract it a little bit. Like I won't spoil
Did you use that a lot? Like I was intrigued by this because I like the fact you can. Yes,
I think I
tended to just outrun them and use like the
in most situations. Yeah, in most situations, I just pegged it.
It's kind of like the screen's a rectangle, and if you come in at the bottom left, the options are that you're going to either go out at the top right or bottom right, or maybe top left. But they're the kind of you know what I mean? Like I don't get the issue. Like and if you mess it up. You know, next time, don't go that way, and it's loaded. And that's the other thing. I don't know how this has gone down with people. So you two tell me. I wondered if people would be a bit annoyed that it autosaves. Because saving your game is obviously a hard save, but it's very generous if you die.
Oh, that's why.
And I wonder if people wouldn't like that, but I think that would make this game a very hard sell if you had to go back to save every time.
And I think it's why I just don't care that I'm dying. Yes, it's
exactly that.
It's like literally like game over. Like, could it come up with a worse title? Like, unless it come up with Chris, you are shit. Like, game over is quite a real harsh type, statement to make. No, it's not like,
But also kind of nice to see as someone a bit older to see.
Yeah, you don't see game over often, but it's like literally like you're either back in the room or just
maybe
outside.
a couple of screens.
More often not. Like in the Emmy ones, you're literally at the front door of the Emmy zone.
It's literally saying, "Go on, then have another go."
Have another go.
All done.
But do you know what I really like? What I like about the Emmy sections is because it's an interesting flip on like the normal bosses where you can read their movements. There is an element of randomness of where they're going to be, how they're going to traverse various things. So you can't.
Oh, if you haven't got a certain skill.
Yeah,
which Adam sort of alluded to, says when you get the thing. If you haven't got that, there's one option, and again they're clear about this. They tell you at the start, if they spot you, run away.
Yeah. Don't engage. They just
don't try it.
I was being a complete dick with one of them. I think it might have been the yellow guy, but it was
okay.
Whatever this zone look was, the design of it was so much fun. There was a lot of like sliding under and long platform areas. I was just kind of like, I'm just going to play a game of fucking Tig here for a few minutes. And I was just like running around the place, letting them jumping over him and stuff. And it's I just really, really enjoyed they don't overstay their welcome whatsoever, in my opinion.
I don't even know if you're in them rooms for longer than a minute half the time.
Nah, not at all. And it is definitely to start to kind of do think like, do I want this? But this brings me on to like just, I just want to speak about like the design of Samus in this one. I think she's absolutely incredible. The movement, the flow, everything, the detail is so good. I think every time I got a new ability, I was just like, without spoiling anything, there's one very well known, if you've played Metroid before, it's one very well known ability that actually there's already kind of memes and stuff going around on it now.
That's another thing, like, where are we with Metroid? Where are we with Metroid? Because, like, as much as this is a new video game, it's also not, if that makes sense. Like,
it's not.
What's a spoiler in a Metroid game? I'm sort of like, I don't know what. I mean, you're not.
Given
naming
what
bosses.
You're probably talking about is in Smash. Like, I kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, I've seen reviews where they've literally named a boss with a K in the name at the start of it.
I mean, to be fair, Nintendo revealed that in a trailer.
Okay, once I'd seen the opening few trailers, I was like, I've seen enough. I knew I was reviewing it anyway. Just like, don't need to see anymore. Yeah. This looks good. But like, where are we with Metroid? What can we say? You know what I mean?
I don't know, because there is one very, very known ability that I was very surprised came so late on.
Do you know what? I agree with you.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
I think he's talking. Should I just say it? Like, Christ.
Is it the one that you talked about in terms of...
not talking about the same one. But like,
well, that would be interesting.
But like,
what does it start with? What's the initials for it?
M.
B, I imagine.
Yeah.
So it's... I love that, though, because that's literally... one of the first things you ever get.
This is ridiculous. We will not get in trouble if we just say it.
If we just say Morphball Bomb, we just say Morphball Bomb then. Fine. But it's like, in most other games, that is one of the first things you get because the puzzles are built around that. And I love the fact that there was so many other puzzles. And then when you got it, it wasn't like, well, I don't need that. It's actually like, no, that's now going to help me do a load of stuff.
That's what I said last week, wasn't it? Like, I love the fact that Mercury Steam have taken the established Metroid.
Yeah,
and then God actually, it's almost like, and maybe this is it. Maybe it's just like one of those moments where you go, there's already. I don't know if you've seen this, Adam. There's like people are already sequence breaking it and getting abilities early, and there's actually stuff in it where they've deliberately made it so you can do stuff and get like a different cutscene for it. It kind of like there's a boss basically. You couldn't access this little place. But if you sequence break to get an ability early, you can get in there and you kill the boss like in a one-er, and it's like a different cutscene. And it's like I saw that and I was like,
"That's cool.
That's so cool." But the whole game kind of feels like a sequence break because you are used to going right. So as Samus, I get this ability, then this ability, and then like you said, the MB you get very late on, and you don't expect it, and it's like they've sequence broke their own. The genre, the series to make their own, and I really like that.
I think they've Dread is like it's made so well. I think it just it's extremely like tight in its gameplay and stuff like that. I'm just so curious now as to like where they're going to go with like Prime 4 and stuff like that, because it's just completely, it's going to be completely different, and like they could technically just release another 2D now.
But did you? I mean, you haven't finished it yet, but the overriding feeling I had, and I always know this is when this is a game I'm going to score high, is that obviously Metroid is a game you replay, don't you? You know, you go at them over and over again. You try and get your time down. You try and 100% the map. But the thing I actually found myself thinking is similar to after when I sort of finished Breath of the Wild, or when I put Breath of the Wild down, because you finish it, but you finish, when you finished your time with it. Same with Odyssey. I sort of sat there and went, but it's going to be a really bloody long time till the next one of these now, isn't it? Because it is. There's not going to be like Metroid Dread 2 next year. And it's the same. And it was almost like a feeling of happiness followed by a real gutting, like,
sense of dread.
This is going to be, kind of like this is going to take. Because I found it funny as well. People keep saying, the original Metroidvania genre. It's like, no, it's just Metroid.
Yeah,
this is just Metro. This, like, that portmanteau. Yeah, this is the part of it. You don't have to call this a Metroidvania. It's just a Metroid game. It's a Metroid game. And I kind of also love that there are. I'm a 40-year-old man. I love that I'm seeing young people playing their first Metroid and going, oh, this is really fucking good, because they will have played other stuff like Ori and like
Hollow Knight and stuff.
Hollow Knight, and now they're playing this, and it's like it's almost like the sort of the Mac Daddy's back saying like, I've still got this, I've still got the moves. It's kind of like I don't know. I just Phil Tyndall says, must say the soundtrack music in Dread is fantastic, and the new speakers on the OLED are a massive improvement over the original Switch and Switch Lite. Did you get an OLED?
No.
You would? I thought you were going to.
I was going to, and then just other stuff came up, so I kind of cancelled for now. And I was kind of waiting to see what the feedback was going to be. But
were you expecting it to be quite as positive as it has been?
Yeah, I didn't know really. Like, I'm kind of like there going, will I just wait? Will I just wait for whatever's going to come next? I don't know. Like, I still want one, obviously.
Tetris Effect, mate. That's what I've been playing in the evenings. My word. I never thought I'd say this in my life. The best version of a multi-format game is on the Switch OLED. Because not only does that screen, I mean, you know what Tetris Effect is. I'm not, but it's got the haptics that are crazy to the point where when you finish a level, it sort of goes like that. My wife turned and went, "What the hell's that?" And it was the Joy-Cons, and when I was holding the Switch like that, and she was like, "What the hell was that?" It's a nice concept.
I do want to say though, just what Phil was saying there about the soundtrack. I did get the special edition of
that
Dread,
is some special edition, isn't it? Where is it there?
Fucking the size of it!
It's up there. People watching it, like, it is
so
enormous.
The size of it.
That's a big art book as well, right? Holy shit! What an art book that is!
Is it Is it nice?
It's like
it's a big one.
It's a real wedge of an art book.
It's a real coffee table kind of art.
Yeah, big time. You would pay 30 quid for that book and happily put, like you say, on a coffee table.
Yeah.
I
would have loved the soundtrack though. Nintendo usually kind of would throw in a CDs kind of soundtrack for it. I just something like that, But like at the end of the day, I think what was it, 100 quid for this special edition?
It's not a cheap one.
It's not cheap, but look, it's really tasty. Do you know what it actually is? The same size as the Astral Chain Collector's Edition. They kind of do that every now and then.
I was going to say that.
I think a lot of people didn't think it was going to be this size, but it's tasty. I also want to say here, I'm just looking at the chat here. Phil has said about getting to GameStop and trading like my old Switch for €65. Is that like trading it in and getting? Because I've not heard this now.
Well, that's what he said. €65 to upgrade, bargain. Yeah, that's what it implies.
Holy smokes!
Have a look at that
tomorrow.
Hey, that's not bad, lad. Check out in a minute. Thank you.
The trouble is whether they can actually supply the stock at the moment. Because
let me check my store.
Like everything, like everything else, it's new technology, so people have got to scalp it and sell them. I must admit, I don't want to do like a weekly OLED update. I am finding myself surprised by how much I'm playing handheld now. I mean, I'd said it in the review. It just is such a bigger screen. And like the other thing as well now is because the stand works, like it's propped up and on my coffee table now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you just don't do that with the Switch. It's just propped up and I can just bang.
Not to say anything about this, but when in terms of handheld, I understand with the OLED. I will say there have been moments where I'm playing Dread. Majority of it is handheld, and my hands were cramping because you are using everything. Like the abilities do come.
I find it more comfortable to use the Pro Controller.
Pro Controller is the ticket with
Dread.
Okay, I never heard
for that game.
Like that anyway.
Yeah, okay.
But,
you should see some of the crazy moves I'm pulling off though, Adam. Like, I'm just on fire.
No, I never. I must admit, I was gripping it like that. You know, it's one of them games where you don't know if I'll grab hold of it. But yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll come back to Dread next week again because I suspect Adam will have finished it by then.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. Chris, what else have you been
playing? So I have been playing Back 4 Blood with your fine self. Obviously, we played the beta. God, how long ago was that now?
Do you know? I couldn't tell you.
It was a fair couple of months, something like that.
It must have been.
So now playing the full game proper. So they obviously only had a couple of acts to play before. So we knew a couple of the missions, but hadn't seen all the other. There's a fair few actually. We've still got a load more to play. But I mean, the initial impressions from when we played the beta, you know, in terms of the guns, the varied environments, the kind of cheeky charm of it all is all still there. The loot and stuff and the co-op nature of it's all really good. The bots are still frustratingly annoying, but you know, play it with as many human players as you can. But you know, that's a very minor point. But what I do want to say, because we did spend a lot of time talking about the nature of it before. Sometimes in a demo or a beta or something, you get, they show you the best bits that they've got, and then you play the rest of the game, and you're like, okay, I've already seen the best bits now, and you feel a little bit let down in terms of like the set pieces it's got or the mission styles that it's got. Oh boy, if you played the beta of Back 4 Blood, you've got to play the full game. There are we've only scratched the surface of the missions that are available.
That's all I played of it was the beta.
The missions, and the missions in that beta are good, right? And there's some variety in that. You know, the boat level is carnage, and even when you know what you're doing, that's a mission that you have to go, right, who's doing what? Come on, let's do it. But there are some really, I won't spoil stuff, but the bar section that we did, Adam, was absolutely superb.
Do you know you get a different song, by the way, each time?
Yeah, Mick told me that there's like a choice of 6. Like, there's random.
I've heard 3 of them now. The one Mick got made me the angriest that we didn't get it. But you would love that, Adam Carroll. There's some of the songs that just end up playing, and when you're trying that whole bit is crazy.
To the point where, like, you know, behind the curtain a little bit. Obviously, we have some docs that we keep a track of for our Game of the Year conversations, and I literally, after we played that level, said, just 1 second, Mr. Cook. I'm just going to go and add that to the best moment just so we don't forget it, because that was insane. Like, I would say to people, if you think you've seen everything that this game has to offer in the beta in terms of the like I said, the set pieces and the levels and things, even the enemies, you know, the breadth of enemies that you come across.
There are more enemies
that you've not. It's really enjoyable. I mean, we enjoyed the beta and you know, so I can't wait to play more of that. I still can't wait to play more of it, and I'm playing more and more levels. And
unless you play it single player.
I think
sad caveat to make. I never thought I would say this.
I cannot. Yeah. I mean, there will be some people that go, "It's fine with the bots." I think you need at least one other person with you.
No, so it's more than that. There's no progression if you play single player. Like there's campaign, and there's a separate single player campaign, which is the same thing, but there is no online. And I was confused about it because I thought, well, surely you could just turn bots, you could just turn to private match, and you wouldn't get anyone in your game. No, you have to have 2 people in a lobby to start the game.
Yeah.
Unless you play single player, which unlocks all the cards from the get-go, doesn't count your stats, doesn't do anything. I kind of don't know why they've done. I mean, I feel like they've done this, and I'm totally speaking from what I think, not what I know. I think they've done this so people wouldn't have a go at them for there not being a single player.
Single player, yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of. Do you remember all those years ago when the first Tomb Raider reboot, or was it the second one? Can't remember. But like it had a multiplayer, and it's like, well, you have to take this into consideration because it's part of the product, and it was shit. Whereas the single player game was amazing. They've kind of gone the wrong, and it was almost like, look, I think Mick or I, one of us, I can't remember, would have said we would have scored this higher if it didn't have a tacked on bad multiplayer, because you have to review the whole product.
The whole package, yeah.
And I feel like this is the reverse almost, where it's like if they've included a single player option, and they've not done it very well, truth be told. But I feel like if they've done it because they didn't want to get had a go at, whereas if they just said this is a multi, because you don't hear people going, oh, PUBG, there's no offline bot mode. You don't hear people going on about that. You don't hear people complaining about exclusively multiplayer games being unavailable to play offline. But because they've allowed people to know there is a single player, the way they would have been better stood, I think, to just not have included it. Well, not have allowed it. Or that's the other thing. Why didn't they just do what I would? Because I literally thought, I think I'm going to be the internet's hero here. I found out how to do it. You just go in to start a match and make it private lobby, and that's it. And then you get all your stats, but no, because you have to have two people. That's how you do it. Remove the single player, just hook it out completely, and make it an offline mode. And that's it, done. But just make it so you don't need two people in the lobby, and it's done. It's fixed.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's a really strange decision to make. I can only imagine they've done it to try and not anger people, which has resulted in them angering people. But it's a terrific, fun game.
It is.
Like, I know people are saying it's not Left 4 Dead, it's not this, or it's not as good as perhaps, and that's it's too early to say. I suspect it probably won't be, because that was like lightning in a bottle twice. But I come away from it having had a tremendous amount of fun.
I always even when we do the same levels, I come away from having a good time, and I always find myself, when we finish a session, not wanting to finish session. Like, we tend to finish session because one of us has to go. Like literally the other day, you're like, I have to leave the house now, so we're going to have to stop. Like,
that's right, yeah.
And you were like, have we got time for one more? Yeah, I've got time for one more before I have to leave the house. I was going to stop earlier.
Out the door.
Yeah. So I always find that that's what happens with the sessions, and that's always a good indication. If you don't want to stop playing, and you can't wait till the next time when you are going to play. But
like, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Not every game has to be as deep and meaningful as The Last of Us or Gone Home. I have a lot of fun with this game, and that's and that's enough. That is enough for me. I have a tremendous time playing this game. I don't really know what more. I'm not saying I think it's like a 10 out of 10 experience, but I don't know what more I would want from it.
No.
I mean, there's only so much content that they can curate and create for this game. I suppose that's the ultimate. Well, I don't want it to end. I want new content every time I play it. But like, there's only so much they can actually create, and I suspect they'll add more. I suspect
I'm sure they'll add
more
characters.
They'll add acts. They'll add new cleaners.
Yeah.
I don't know what I like the card system. I like the it's almost a roguelike in that respect, in that the AI director will say, right, here's a card that's going to make it foggy at night or more special infected, and you're like, okay, that's fine, because I've got a card here that I can play that counteracts you. It's that kind of design. I like the weapon customization. I like the way you unlock cards. Like, it's not throwing a billion at you at once. Every time you play you'll probably be able to unlock a couple of cards. There's very
I like that
I
you can
really
choose as well, almost like a skill tree system where you can
build
choose
out
which
a
cards
loadout
to
as you
unlock.
play.
Yeah.
I just there's very little I can say that I find to complain about. Like, I can if you really get into it, the AI is shit. The AI is really bad for the human. If you haven't got a party of 4. Because you don't want to play with randoms, and that's the only reason it should really happen. Or if you're playing single player, the AI is really bad. Like, it's quite glitchy and awkward, and I'm surprised at that, because I thought they would have fixed that from the beta. But that's if you're not playing with 4 people. If you've got a group of like-minded friends, or you're happy to go online with randoms, which I don't see that as a particularly bad issue. It's just tremendously fun. I want to say brainless. You know what I mean? Just it's a Hollywood blockbuster of a game. Like, it's
these games need to exist.
Absolutely. It does, like I say, not every game has to have a deep and meaningful backstory. It absolutely can, but they don't all have to. And I really like that. I feel weird because I kind of hope they do well because I feel like they've almost been cursed. Like Evolve was not a bad game. It was badly marketed and badly promoted. Well, not promoted. It was badly treated, really. But it was not a bad game at all. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, in that respect.
I feel at least there's a lot of noise about it, which is always a good
Well, it's
thing.
Game Pass. That was the one thing. That was the most interesting thing for me. Adam, we were playing. We the four of us were playing pre-release, but not quite pre-release. There was if you pre-ordered the game or pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition of the game, you got early access to the game, and those were the codes we were given. That's how they unlocked it to press. Nobody did. It was only the press, because who's going to pre-order a game to get 4 days early access, to get a couple of cards and some future content that isn't out yet, when you can pre-download it and play it for free via Game Pass? It's the first time I've seen a very definite, like, shit, no one's playing this.
That's been going on a while, though, hasn't it? That kind of
but this is like really... This was like a real...
The fact that no one was.
They're going to have to find another way to do it. Like, Microsoft are doing it as well, I think. Or they were. I don't know if they still are, but they were doing it. They did it with the Forza, where it's like, buy the Ultimate Edition and get early access. FIFA does it. When it comes to a game that's in Game Pass, they're going to have to find another way to sell pre-orders because it doesn't work. Nobody was playing, and I mean nobody, to the point where we started a lobby and we were like, why isn't this loading? You know, it loaded fine before, and it's because there's a setting that reverts back to a public match. So it's trying to find someone. So as soon as I turned it off from private, and it was me and Chris and 2 bots, straight into the game. It was literally nobody was playing it. And we weren't playing at awkward hours. We were playing at hours where people would be playing. They're going to have to find another way of hocking pre-orders, because it's not going to work to say early access if that game's going into Game Pass. And by the way, what a good Game Pass game. Holy shit, what a good game.
Amazing.
Just download and play for free. Chris, what else have you been playing? Like I say, like I don't know.
Like you don't know. So I have been playing the PC demo of Monster Hunter Rise. So I believe it's out. I want to say it's out now, or out yesterday.
It's out now.
Out now. The demo.
And just so people, before you go into it, Chris, the footage people are watching is Switch footage still. Okay, it's just a visual guide.
Fine.
I haven't got any PC footage.
No, that's fine. So the PC demo of Monster Hunter Rise, it is identical in terms of structure of the Switch demo. So for those that either didn't play it or can't remember, you got the option of like 3 different monsters of increasing difficulty to go after in a hunt, and there's 2 tutorial bits, one around the new Wyberg and one around the Wyvern hunter riding bits, the 2 new mechanics in Monster Hunter Rise. I know a lot of obviously our patrons and stuff played the original game on Switch, so I don't want to go through it at great length. Like I said, a lot of the experience is the same. The one thing I do find odd about it, and I found this odd about the demo, but I didn't really have the context for it until I played the proper game, the full game on Switch, is I find it odd that the demo, the way the demos are set up with the 3 hunts, is orders of magnitude more challenging than what it is in the real game. And I do find that interesting. Like the beginner hunt is easy. It's designed to get you get stuck in, and you'll feel like, I can do this monster hunting lark. If you've never played it before, it's a great intro to getting your first kind of kill, I guess, and thinking, I quite like this game. Try a few weapons. But then the last 2 monsters are kind of early mid-game, mid-late, depending on what you consider early mid-game in terms of the single player or the multiplayer game. Yet you're always given the basic armor and the basic weapons to try and take them on. Mm-hmm. And obviously you've got a set time limit within Monster Hunter as well. So you're in a situation where the beginning one is piss on your own. You do it in a few minutes. Second one, you need a group of you, or at least 2 of you, to go at it and hope you don't die 3 times because your armor's naff. But it's doable. And then the third one, quite frankly, unless you're a group of 4 wizards on Monster Hunter Rise, in which case I question why you're playing a demo anyway, because you've played it for hundreds of hours already. You're just going to die, and you might get. The reason I question it is because for people that haven't played if people are coming to this on PC and they haven't played it on Switch because they're PC gamers, and then will go, "Why is this Monster Hunter Rise? I want to play it." They could play that and go, "That's too hard for me. I can't do this." It's I could do the first one.
Metroid Dread.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think it's an interesting choice. Like, I get that it's supposed to say, "Well, it's not. These are hard monsters. You have to understand their tails and their patterns." But there's a difference between doing that and literally just going like the last one is literally, I'd say, almost impossible with the time that you have and the damage that it does. It can like 1 or 2 hit kill you, and it's huge and quick, and you're just kind of very slowly chipping away damage, almost not doing enough to kill it in the time frame. So that's the only thing I felt I'd obviously having reflections of playing the full game on Switch that they haven't tweaked the PC demo. They've still gone, no, this is what it was on Switch, and it's still going to be the same. So I guess if you are, what I would say is my advice, if you are new, if you are trying it for the first time, definitely do. Give it a go. I think it's a great game, Monster Hunter Rise. But know that the difficulty is probably not representative of the final experience, because you'll have better gear and stuff when you go against those monsters. In terms of the performance on PC compared to Switch, I mean, visually it looks very similar. I'd say the monsters look a little bit better.
Art style, isn't it, more than a...
Yeah. Do you
know in the distance when you would see like a monster and it's kind of like stuttering,
2 frames a second,
like as you
that's a bit better. The draw distance is a bit better as well. But a
bit better on PC.
I don't think it's. If I'm honest with you, mate, I haven't done a lot of research on future monsters in the distance, because it's one of those things you noticed mid-fight when you can see something in the distance. But so I'd have to check. But the things I did notice is it felt like the draw distance was a bit closer. Mick has done a comparison video, Switch versus PC footage.
I was surprised that didn't look better. It runs better. It clearly runs better.
The difference is in the running. It runs better.
Frame rate is, I would say, is 60 frames. Well, it's uncapped on PC. I know that, and it's not great on Switch at times. But yeah, it's one of those things where we tried to sort of have a comparison, and it's like the demo's not brilliant for that, really. No. And again, it makes you wonder, because the game's out in January, so like, I think probably have another look come January time and see how it,
Yeah.
But they do say like there's 4K textures and all this, so it must be. I just was surprised. I know YouTube compression's not always do favors to it, but like it was.
It's
an art
personally,
style, I think.
Yeah, I feel like for me when I was playing it. And it's difficult to know, the memory of it. That's why you do the comparisons to go, well, what's it actually like? But did feel like the monsters, they did look like better. But like you say, the general textures of like walls and things, and that just looked the same from what I could remember. For maybe the monsters are the things that have been given a bit of a tartar. But the difference you notice is in how it plays, like the frame rate and things. That is significantly improved. But yeah, it's out now.
The demo.
Give it a go. Give the demo a go. See what you think. But yeah, that's the other thing that I've been playing other than Dread and Back 4 Blood.
Let's move on to some listener correspondence then. We've got one question this week that we've I never know what's there. Pre-organised, pre-questioned. I don't know. Deck the Halls Punk says, "I need to know what's your favourite Nicolas Cage movie and why." Now, I can only think of one movie he was in right now.
Are you going to say Con Air?
I'm going to literally going to Google, because I don't want to
say Con Air.
I don't want to say all the obvious.
Face Off.
Oh, yeah, Face Off and Con Air were the two that came to my mind.
So let me ask you this question then, right? An addendum. Do you not think Face Off's a little overrated? Face Off is poo. Thank God.
I'm going to say that right now. It's poo. I've had arguments with people about Face Off. It's too goddamn long. It's 2.5 hours.
I mean, I haven't watched it in years. I remember really enjoying it at the time, but I don't know if I watched it now. If I go, this is arse. But I remember enjoying it at the time.
Maybe poo is a bit strong. Okay, maybe if I watch it now and just go, all right, this is what it is. But I know people are like, oh, it's the best, and I'm just like, it's not. It's just not. Like it's 2.5 hours and it's so long, and it's just not. No, it's not.
So, what is the best Nicolas Cage film, Adam? You are undoubtedly the film buff on this podcast.
My favorite. I love Mandy.
Okay, that's the one that's got brought up in chat straight away by Phil Tinder.
Really?
Actually,
I've not seen
Mandy's
that.
outstanding, and I would highly recommend everyone watch. He's coming out with a lot of movies at the moment, but the last one I watched by him was called Pig, and Pig it's definitely something that you will think, because there's that like crazy Nick Cage.
Oh, is that the new one? What? Who's Nick My Pig? That one?
Yeah,
I've seen that advertised, but I've not seen it.
I would
about Pig being
people
nicked.
go into that movie without knowing anything about it.
No,
because its title and what the premise kind of sounds like. Nah.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely awful, but I imagine it's
not. My God,
yeah.
that movie is not your typical Nick Cage performance that like everyone kind of goes crazy for, which is like Crazy Cage. Pig is one of the best movies I've seen this year personally, but Mandy is kind of one of those ones that's just like the slow burn madness thing. But then like, he does a lot of cool things, like The Color Out of Space is a good one. Like Con Air is fun. He does that one where he's an ambulance driver. It's a Scorsese
I imagined it, or is he
movie.
making a movie where he plays himself? Have I made that up?
It sounds totally like
that's what I mean.
It could be a thing.
Like he's playing
there's
himself.
There's a 2000. I'm on the Wikipedia. There's a 2022 film called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and he plays Nicolas Cage.
Okay, so that might be it. Yeah, I'm sure I read somewhere that he was playing himself.
He's in that one
in a
called that I'd never seen before, Willy's Wonderland. That sounds like it's like Five Nights at Freddy's or something.
Sounds like a porno.
See that on here?
Hang on here, no. Let me just see.
I really can't answer that. I don't know.
He's in Kick-Ass. He's not the lead, but he's in Kick-Ass.
He's in Spider-Man.
Gone in 60 Seconds. That's an oldie.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Riders. Yeah. What?
He's in The Rock.
Yeah,
really?
No, The Rock for me. Then that is a tremendous film. Yeah, The Rock.
Rock's a good show.
Yeah,
it's a good show. Bringing Out the Dead is the one I was talking about. Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds is probably it there.
8mm, which is a bit of a weird one. City of Angels.
Oh yeah.
Like Windtalkers. Left Behind is apparently one of the worst movies.
Is he all right, or is it because with these Hollywood types you never know? Like, is
he all right?
No, what are we allowed to like him? Do you mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're allowed to like Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean though? Like, you don't know with these Hollywood types.
Yeah. Where the deadbeat punks just pile us into a corner there.
Yeah. No, Nick Cage is okay.
At the moment. If you watch it in the future,
at the moment of recording, he's all right.
Jesus, look at this. USS Indianapolis Men of Courage, 2016. That looks bad.
It sounds it.
I'd watch it though.
Yeah.
Nick Cage though, yeah. Mandy. Everyone watch Mandy.
Okay, so Mandy, The Rock, and you were Gone in 60 Seconds, were you, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And that is that is a podcast for this week.
I just got that.
It was just, I'm wasted. That was a podcast for this week, though. If you do enjoy this, make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you click the thumbs up button. Leave a little comment. Tell us what your favourite Nicolas Cage movie is in the comment section, because the more comments people see, the more they think, oh, they're interesting people. Lots of people are commenting, so I'll comment and watch and listen. Also, you can go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, where you will get access to this podcast early in audio form and video form, because after we finish recording this right now, it goes hidden until Monday when it goes live, but you have access to that all the time if you're a Patreon supporter. You also have we record before and after the pod. Sometimes there's little bonus bits, got a good old music discussion as like an extra 12 minutes. We do lots of stuff like that. There's code giveaways. We've just had one this month, and there was some really good big games in there. We do
rap remixes every now and then.
Remixes and music videos starring Christopher Hyde as a rapper who has pooed himself, which I shouldn't have said it because now it's in my head.
Yeah, it's in your head. It's been in my head all week.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I just for the record, someone did say to me, have you got any more things where Chris says stuff like that? Chris, is there anything you want to say that can be taken out of context and put into music?
No, you see, the thing about that one last week is it wasn't intentional, and it just became amazing. So I think we need to think more about like the topics like last week of those kind of songs and things, and do it for next week.
What's your opinion? Your succinct one sentence opinion on Nicolas Cage. Start it with he or I think.
I think he's all right.
That's really shit, mate. Like,
I can't think of it.
That's barely a sentence.
Oh, right. Sorry, you want something that's a few syllables to put a beat to?
Yeah, I wanted you to say something like that man's a crazy motherfucker, and then you could take the crazy, that man. I'm so, I'm a crazy motherfucker. I'm a.
You're trying to get it the exact same way.
Yeah, of course I am. I'm always trying. That is it for the podcast this week. Thank you to Phil Tyndall for the super chat. I'm not a YouTuber.
Thanks,
I don't know what
Yeah,
you're supposed to say, but thank you. Yeah, Chris is the best legend. Have a good weekend when you get there. If this is after the weekend, I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you have a great week. And I mean that. I truly mean that. Enough for some reason I've become a preacher. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you to Adam and Chris.
Thank you.
And we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.